Hey everybody, and welcome back to Mr. B Clothing, 1995 Northwest 86th Street in beautiful Clive, Iowa. Chris Williams here, along with my partner, good friend Tim Sitzmann.
Good to be here.
It's been 2-3 weeks since I've seen you. How you doing, friend?
I'm having a little withdrawal, Chris, to be honest with you. It's good to be back in the seat here with you, and you're right, it's a beautiful day, and our store looks gorgeous, ready for spring. A shout out to all your customers and fans. Come on in and see us. I think you'll be surprised. A lot of beautiful things, and color is the word for spring.
Yeah, well, Tim, I got a couple of people ringing endorsements for you and Mr. B. Some Cyclone fanatics stopped in over the last few weeks.
Yeah, it was quite nice. One of the fans was in, and he came right up the counter and said he was a fan, and I said, we love having you, and we did real well with him, and thank you. And all of you out there who come in, we appreciate it.
Again, Kentucky Derby's just around the corner. We got the horse racing season. You gotta get decked out.
Did you see that yellow blazer up there? It looked like
looked like the Masters, but yellow.
You like yellow, absolutely.
Yeah, we're getting pumped up. Weather's getting better. I'm pumped up about something. Tim, this really shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, but it was, late last week, there were some rumors going around the internet that Iowa State's women's basketball coach Bill Fennelly was possibly going to interview at Wisconsin. Now, these were just rumors. Okay, this was nothing, no source, no credible sources, nothing like that. Bill came out on his Twitter feed last Friday, shot everything down.
Right.
And it made me get to thinking, especially with Iowa State fans, I think sometimes you kind of get complacent. You know that you know that Bill is going to be there, and you know you're going to have a winning basketball team, and you know you're going to have a program and a product you're going to be proud of. Maybe that was, in a way, when that rumor popped up, Iowa State fans, some of them, they got a little jittery.
Right.
Like, wow,
why not?
What if he would leave?
Yeah.
Now, I never thought he would leave. I mean, Bill Fennelly is the epitome of what it means to be an Iowa State Cyclone.
Right.
And he proved it again.
Right.
But maybe we appreciate Bill Fennelly just a little more. Maybe a little scare like that, a little tidbit like that, ruffle your feathers a little bit's not a bad thing every once in a while.
I would hope so. But when you put the record on the table that he has over the last 3-4 years, and the quality of basketball he puts on the court, and the quality of the way he treats that program. You have to look at the whole up there at Iowa State and what Jamie Pollard's put together in the coaching staff, and you have to be pretty pleased if you're a Cyclone fan.
Yeah,
there's some real class, and I really call it a real Cyclone feel to that coaching staff, and Bill Fennelly's a prime example of that. It doesn't surprise me that somebody's after it at all.
No.
It does not surprise me. And let's be honest out there as fans that day may come. Dollars are still big, but I think he's there for the long haul. I think he wants to be there, but who knows? Situations come up. That all these coaches switch around. It's a different game than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's going to be a different game 10 years from now. But I think we have a real winner, and I think the key statement from my perspective is what an opportunity is to appreciate what we have.
Oh yeah, it's great, and there's so many programs across the country where, unfortunately, because it's a really good product, and if I ever have children, I'm going to take them to as many Iowa State women's basketball games as I possibly can.
Well, that's nice, yeah.
It is an outstanding product. I don't think it gets recognized enough around the country, and that's why I'm not going to say we're spoiled with Iowa State. Nobody's spoiled because the fans go out and support Bill and his program and his players, and the fans need to be commended for that too. It's just a really good community type deal.
It's an excellent program,
and I think this is Iowa State as a whole, but I think there is a niche of Iowa State fans who are diehard women's basketball fans. That is so special. I think we're really lucky to have that name.
Very lucky, and I think it's a tribute to him, what he's done to be thought of in some of these big programs across the state or across the nation. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But I think he bleeds maroon and gold.
Oh, definitely.
And I think he's going to be there a while. And I'm glad to hear that the rumors have been squelched, and he seems to be pretty solid in the Iowa State Cyclone's future.
Yep. Hey Tim, spring football game's coming up.
Spring's here. Can you believe it?
I love it, man.
It's great.
I absolutely
basketball's over. Now we're talking football.
We're talking football. I'm looking forward to the spring game. The quarterback thing's going on.
Yeah.
That's what everybody's going to be watching. I'll just say this for one. Steele Jance, Jerome Tiller, James Capello, Jared Barnett, whichever guy you're leaning on right now maybe is your pick. I'll tell you this. I don't think that we're going to have a starting quarterback at Iowa State after the spring. my theory on this is if you name Steele Jantz your starting quarterback, which a lot of people think will eventually happen, I think you lose Jerome Tiller. And maybe likewise, if you name Tiller, I don't know. I don't know Steele Jantz enough. I don't know his personality. I like that option if I'm Paul Rhodes. Just, yeah, ideally you'd like to have a guy who's standing out that far above everybody else. But if not, just run with it and let there be a big competition come August. What do you think about that?
I think in any major program, and Iowa State certainly wants to get, move up that ladder to being one of the major programs in first of all their conference and then maybe nationally. You're going to have these kind of conflicts in positions.
Yeah.
You got to have depth. It's proven time and time again. Somebody can get hurt on a given day. You got to have somebody who comes in with the same quality. It's kind of the next man in kind of thing.
Yep.
They have to be able to perform. I don't even know. I at this point, I guess from my knowledge of the whole thing, I'd say Tiller would be the front runner, but that it's going to be a battle all the way through. I happen to agree with you, and we agree most time, but not always. But I happen to agree with you that this competition will not end at the end of spring. It will not probably end at the end of next season. Yeah. It'll be a continued competition between four probably pretty darn good athletes. And if you don't have good athletes, you're not going to compete in the Big 12 on an ongoing basis.
That is correct. Again, if I was a betting man, I'd say you're not going to know who the starter is. I think there might be a guy in the spring game or something where you go, I think he has the edge, but I don't think Rhodes is going to come out and say, this is our guy.
And I
don't think that'll happen.
Between you and I know that's going to be the story. That's going to be in the papers. That's going to be on every fan's mind. I'm more worried about the offensive, defensive lines. That's where that's where games are won. There's 4 or 5 position players back there. We got pretty good running backs coming in. I think there's a quarterback that can play. If we can protect, if we can block, if we can stop somebody from running, we can win some ball games. And Jerome Tiller, in my mind, may be the lead candidate, but I am not saying that's going to be forever. Maybe game to game there's a new starter. But we got to build the offensive, defensive lines.
I'm very encouraged about what you're seeing on the offensive line. Defensive line, still some questions.
Yes.
We'll see. They're getting depth.
Well, it's early and it's fun. It's time to talk about it. We came off a pretty darn good season considering the great season Paul Rhodes had with the Cyclones 2 years ago, and I think we're going to see more good things to come.
Well, Tim, it's been fun today. We get the Masters coming up. It's going to be golf season.
I should have had a green coat on or something, but maybe next week.
We'll do the green jackets. Yeah. Kentucky Derby, a lot of stuff going on at Prairie Meadows coming up. You got to get decked out. You don't want to show up to one of these things looking like a slob. I mean, a Sunday Masters party at your country. You don't want to do anything like that. So get out here to Mr. B's at 1995 Northwest 86th Street. Really get yourself decked out for the season. You agree, Tim?
I agree. Get some color. It's fun to come in. We got a bright store. We're full of energy right now for spring. We all get a little gunned up when the sun comes out. So come on in and see us. And it is beautiful, Clive, Iowa. We'd love to have you. Chris, it's good to be back with you.
Yeah, it's good to be back, Tim, and we'll see you around next week. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have an outstanding week. A lot more spring football stuff coming up here at CycloneFanatic.com.